up, everybody? Welcome to this edition of Hoop There. It's funny. I stopped just then for Joe, but I actually still have his audio muted, so it doesn't even matter.
Anthony.
I just got you, Anthony.
Oh, shit. This is on the internet. My mom's going to see this.
Yeah, come on, Joe.
Hi, Joe's mom.
I was pointing out to Olivia last week. She was like, is the point of y'all show actually just to see how long it takes you to get through the intro? And I said, I think so, and no one told me.
Yeah, actually.
It's something me and TJ decided on a very long time ago.
TJ and I. Go back to school. You have a bachelor's degree. How embarrassing.
Damn.
I like...
Your room looks like a 13-year-old's room with all those wrestling posters.
That's right, and yeah, that's right. It is. I got nothing.
Maybe you should show off your action figure collection.
Oh,
actually, can you?
Yeah, it's at the strip. Here's the thing, though. It's at the strip club with Lou Williams, so I'll have to see if you can get it for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, while we get into this podcast, I'm going to mute those guys real quick. My name is Anthony. You can follow me here, S2D Tony, on the Twitter. Make sure, though, more importantly, that you guys actually head over, hit the subscribe button if you could here on the YouTubes. We would appreciate that very much. We're going to talk about some basketball today, so let's get right into it. Guys, we had some crazy stuff happen with the bubble here. Let's start with the thing I hinted at already. Lou Williams went to a strip club for chicken wings. Those chicken wings must have been good because he risked it all, boys. He risked COVID for them wings.
The one thing I will say is I've seen a bunch of people reacting on Twitter and saying like, yo, I've been to that strip club and they for real have the best chicken wings ever. So
either they're that good or that just really convenient location post-funeral. You know, you're like, well, there's some wings there. I guess the potential look at boobies won't hurt. And
I think no one's there. The biggest problem is that we should be talking about is the idiot that decided to post a picture of him and Lou Williams on social media when he knows that Lou Williams is not supposed to be at a strip club. Like, that's how we got caught.
Yeah. But you know what? The more important thing is...
they were wearing their mask.
Yeah. Kendrick Perkins was against going to the... he was against, like, Lou Williams doing this. And if Perkins is against something, I'm for it.
Yeah, because Kendrick Perkins has some
is this the
takes.
part of the podcast where it's like the anti-Perkins part? Because Kendrick Perkins is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Kendrick
is a piece of shit.
Yeah, Kendrick Perkins and Jason Whitlock, they deserve each other to me.
He's like the pre-Draymond Green. And we all know how I feel about Draymond Green, and it's not good.
I mean, at least Draymond Green's good at basketball.
There we go.
That's
he does have that. Kendrick does not have that.
He does not. I saw a 2 minute and 11-second compilation of Kendrick Perkins being a fucking idiot on Twitter. And the first play was him when he was playing for OKC and they were playing the Lakers. And Russ passes him the ball and he does a behind the back pass. He tries to do a behind the back pass and he just passes it to the other team on a fast break. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody got a dunk off of it, and it was very, very funny.
Hell yeah.
Classic Perk.
Yeah, classic. So, I don't know, guys. Would y'all risk not playing and risk the Rona for them wings if they were that good?
I mean... if
they're the best wings in the world, absolutely.
Listen, if I'm already out and about, already expecting to push the limits of what I'm allowed to kind of go and do to go see a funeral... on the way back, if I pass a place that potentially offers good wings,
the best wings
and
in the
maybe
world,
boobs,
absolutely.
I'm probably going to stop by too, especially if I'm hungry. Like, I mean, fuck, yeah.
I mean, that's where we were right before here. We're getting wings. So, like...
I don't blame Lou Williams. I do think it's a little dumb, but I'm not saying I'm a smart person either. Y'all
went to the same spot where my action figures there?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see him?
The good jobs of the hardworking strippers.
Hey, Mondo's here on the Facebook chat. He asked, did he cash app the strippers? Because cash money is not a good idea in these times.
Let's hope that he got their Venmo.
Make it rain on a bunch of $1 transactions just over and over.
He's just chucking bones at the strippers after he finishes them.
Yeah, like, these
Let's
wings are fucking good.
Let's talk about some other shit in the bubble. We talked about, I think we did last week. Dwight Howard was going on a tangent about how it wasn't safe to go to the bubble, then decided not to wear a mask and got snitched on.
I think I don't know if we actually talked about that incident exactly, but it deserves to be talked about because Dwight Howard's kind of a goon too. I think he's had his fair amount of shacked in a fool. So not as much as JaVale McGee.
Yeah, that's the MVP. That's the MVP right there.
Yeah, but you have those two guys on the same team. Dwight Howard is just he's an interesting fella.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a goon though, because like I don't look at Dwight Howard and think like, man, that's a hard motherfucker. I just think he's kind of a doofus. Like,
yeah, well, he's goofy. Yeah,
he definitely is.
He's no Kendrick Perkins.
Nah, that's true. Let's also talk about they got a barbershop set up. It looks like NBA 2K there at Walt Disney World.
Yep, I fucking love that. I think it's wonderful.
I hope they keep it. I'll go get a haircut from there if I ever go to Disney World.
You're not allowed in the bubble.
Well, if I ever go,
they're gonna tear it down immediately.
Probably. Do they not know the legend of? Do they not know the legend of high school? I almost went to Liberty Joe.
That's true. I don't think they know about the legend of the triple single Joe in high school.
The triple single.
Triple single.
Yikes.
Listen, I'm working on a single
edition.
Single. That's a cool what now?
I think it's a cool addition to the bubble is the little 2K barbershop. I think it's fucking cool.
It is pretty cool. I'm about it. I'm a fan of it. And then we had, what else happened in the bubble so far? J.R. Smith didn't bring enough underwear.
That seems like something J.R. Smith would do. Though.
That's exactly
like he packed enough Hennessy for the amount of time that he needs to be there, but he forgot his fucking underwear. He's like, God damn it! I knew I was missing something.
If I remember reading this correctly, he said that he only brought that much because he didn't anticipate all of the times they would be out of the room for practices. So, 2-a-days of workouts and practices. When he burned through his 7 pair, he said in a couple of days, and was like, I didn't think I needed this much. It's like,
also hilarious that he did not think about. I was like, yeah, I'm going to the playoffs. Oh, right, practice.
I haven't played basketball.
I've never been to one of those
in almost
before.
2 years.
I wouldn't know.
Oh, speaking of not playing basketball in 2 years, Mr. Roberson over for OKC hit 2 lethal threes to win the scrimmage yesterday.
They were back-to-back, if I recall.
Dude, back-to-back. Very, very good to see that, man. Very, very good to see that. I watched the post-game interview with Chris Paul, and he said that Roberson is one of the best teammates that he's ever had in his entire career.
Chris Paul was going nuts, too.
I believe that.
It's really, really good to see. It's really good to see him be able to come back from that injury, considering it was supposed to be a 4-week rehab originally, and then turned into 2 years. He was not known necessarily for his offensive prowess, but one of the best wing defenders in the league before he got injured. Yeah. I'm just hoping that he can continue to do that whenever he gets back.
I mean, I'm not hoping that, they do play in the same division as the Mavericks. So if he doesn't play as well, that's fine with me.
I actually retweeted that from our from @HoopTherePod on Twitter. Make sure you guys follow us there. He actually hadn't played in 30 months. That's crazy. Imagine, it feels good to come back, but imagine this guy when he was on his road to recovery, he did not anticipate he'd be coming back playing basketball in a pandemic in front of only the media. Literally just the media.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let's talk about one more thing about the bubble, and then we'll talk about carry-on topic from last week. Go ahead, Joe.
Do you think that would be more pressure or less? To come back to no fans and just playing what would maybe feel like scrimmage basketball for the playoffs?
I would say more.
Or coming back into the fucking playoffs with packed out houses and trying to play through that.
I mean, honestly, I would say more because you don't because he came back, there was not that huge ovation from the fans to see him back and welcome him home. It's just oh, here's your teammates. And they were cheering you on, but it's just your teammates and then the opposition, and that's it. And they're all just standing there like, yeah, we don't want to see you back. Like you're the competition.
I think it's different. Yeah, it's just like a different context to imagine yourself in, which no one could have imagined this happening. So it's just a different kind of weight.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys this honestly. I am what they call not an athlete. So I don't know what that kind of pressure would be like.
Interesting.
I've performed my saxophone in front of very low amount of audience, and it feels exactly the same.
Low amounts of audience.
Yes.
You heard it here first, folks.
So are you saying you would compare your athletic ability to that of like a professional baseball player who's like barely an athlete? Is that what you're saying?
Apparently.
Because I would agree with you if you are saying that, because baseball players, they're not athletes. They're fucking fat guys who throw balls.
Listen, first of all, speaking of fat guys that throw balls, there was a segue opportunity there, and
We're going to Kendrick Perkins again?
I'm at Kendrick Perkins.
or Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. You leave him alone.
Hey.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
Let's talk about so we talked last week about or let's talk about the court. Last thing I want to talk about. What are you guys' impressions of the social distanced court out there for the bubble? Go ahead, Jonka.
At any given time.
Say it one more time.
I believe there's 3 different like main stage courts, right? Like there's 3 different ones they're using.
You're correct, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Tej, you've been watching all the scrimmages. Give us a rundown. Do they look different? I've only seen the one.
They don't. Not from what I can tell. They don't look different. It's still the same setup. You still have the Black Lives Matter on every single court. You still have the kind of the plexiglass or whatever they're using in front of the scorer's table, and then the social distance bench. All the seats are spread apart. Coaches. I have seen some coaches wearing masks. I have seen other coaches not. Popovich was wearing a mask. I think D'Antoni was wearing a mask. And Gentry, which is who we spoke about last podcast episode of like the older coaches possibly being more at risk if they do contract the disease.
Right.
But with that being said, from what I can tell, they don't look really any different. I think, and I don't quote me on this. Don't say anything to be like, oh, you're Gentry,
wrong.
Which is who we spoke about. The certain courts might be testing out fan crowd noise in certain courts as opposed to other ones. Because I did notice when the Mavs played the Lakers, that scrimmage was technically a home game for the Lakers, and they had a ton of fan noise going during that game. For the Lakers after like a big play, especially in the first quarter. So they're testing things out, in bigger primetime games, which I would imagine is probably on a different court. But I don't know exactly. I didn't really hear much fan noise, if at all, on the early games. I do know that they have 32 microphones at courtside or under the court to kind of pick up everything on every single court. So I think that's a really, really cool addition, being able to hear Mello. We got to hear
Mello. Out of here, I got it. Dude, but, you heard it so loud. I loved it.
It's a really, really cool addition. They're still throughout the scrimmages, and I think what we're going to see with the actual regular season games, we're going to see them kind of fiddling around with the audio aspect of things. To kind of get it ready for playoff basketball and try their hardest to make it as realistic as possible. I did notice one more thing, and then I'll shut up. On the actual Titantron that is like kind of right behind the scorer's table and behind the benches, they had fans going crazy along with the sound. I don't know if they're actually going to try and incorporate virtual fans, like you can sit here and like maybe all of us could be a fan and just sit on our, webcams and try and scream. I don't know if they're going to do that or if they're going to stick with just the generic. I imagine they'll probably stick with the generic, but they did have the video on there and the audio trying to work that out.
From what I understand, what they're going to do is try like basically what we saw with Goodell and the fans for the draft. That's what they want as the backboard. So that is what they're hoping to do. It was in the media. The media got a preview of what the court was going to look like and all that good stuff. So they did. That is supposed to happen. The one thing, the court noise or court talking that I heard was LeBron saying that he's still the fastest man on the court. He's not. He never was the fastest man on the court. I mean, he's crazy dominant, but to say he was the fastest when like Tony Parker was in his prime when he first made his debut in the NBA is wild. But it was funny to hear LeBron talk all that trash and then lose to the Maps in the same game. Indeed. So last week we had talked about some super teams, and Jonka, you weren't here, so let's toss this over to you before we get into this article. Super teams forming in the NBA. I'm going to go around. I want to hear everybody how many teams they think. How many super teams are going to be formed from this bubble in the next 2 years? Go ahead, Juice.
Next 2 years, I would say we see no more than 3. I'd say 3 max.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah.
See, I was in the same line, but my gut's saying 4. I'm gonna go with that. 4.
Teach?
I'm gonna say 2.
Like new ones or additions to old ones or like
Total.
I don't really see like
total.
Yeah.
How many will there be in 2 years? I'm going 4.
No, new ones, new super teams as a result of the bubble. How many do you think will in the next 2 years that we will see new super teams?
Gut's still saying 4.
4.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 2.
Okay. We got 2, 3, and 4. Bleacher Report lists 4 potential ones. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to bring up the 4 instead of us just goof, because we can goof and talk about super teams. That's going to be a 3-hour podcast. We could do that and get hammered and do this all night long. Let's go with the 4.
I can get hammered all night long. What?
That copy. Damn it!
Copy,
I got the hot.
Copy.
Portland Trailblazers is one of the super teams they see. So I'm going to list the name of each team, go around, get some reaction. Portland Trailblazers, Dame Dalla, DeMar DeRozan, and CJ McCollum. This one makes the most sense to me of the ones they listed because DeMar DeRozan jumping to that team is not that crazy as of a jump to me.
Agreed.
The Spurs, like, there's not really any reason to hang around the Spurs, so why?
is fucking sick. He's one of the top 5 point guards in the
Well, Juice and Joe are. Robo voice.
You guys are cutting out so bad.
They froze over there, so I'll let you react first, Teach. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. DeMar DeRozan has no reason to stay on the Spurs. Right now, I was reading a little bit more information on the Spurs. We did speak about their playoff streak and how they're trying to maintain that throughout all of this craziness. But a big key piece is not in the bubble right now, and that is LaMarcus Aldridge. He is hurt, and he is not in the bubble, and I don't see them being able to make a run to actually get that playoff streak and continue it. With that being said, you can't ever count out a Popovich-led team, like we said last week. But DeMar DeRozan, he got traded to San Antonio. He's really had no issues with San Antonio in the time he's been there. But at the same time, this is a business. I think that he, once he does, I think his contract up is pretty soon, right?
I think so.
Regardless, I think whenever his contract is up, having that freedom to be able to go to whatever team he really wants to because he will get offers, whether it's the amount of money that he wants or the time frame of the contract is a different conversation, but he will get offers. And him being on the Portland Trailblazers, I think would be a really, really nice fit because that gives you that slashing 3 that and perimeter shooting on top of wing defense that they desperately need right now. The Hassan Whiteside acquisition turned out to be not the greatest. Nurkic is playing pretty well. Finally getting to see some quality minutes from Nurkic, and that's always a good thing to see. But and also can't forget Melo. Melo is reinventing himself, and it was kind of a humbling experience. The fact that for some odd reason, no NBA team wanted him. Portland Trail Blazers picked him up. But obviously, we all know that Melo does not have that much left in the tank in terms of longevity with his career. DeMar DeRozan replacing Melo in the 3 position would be a killer and make them a playoff contender for sure consistently, but also I think an NBA's finals contender as well.
Before we jump over to you guys, DeMar DeRozan has a $27.7 million player option for 2020-2021. So he is in all of the power. He can stay with the Spurs, he can force a trade, or he can just walk. My guess, if I were a guessing man, no, I don't think he's walking. He's going to pick up that option and force a trade.
I mean, you never know. He might get a better offer out there, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's going to play they're playing the market right now anyway while they're there. Sure. Might as well.
Sure.
Juice, Joe, Blazers having Damian Lillard, DeMar DeRozan, CJ McCollum. Does it work? Do you want it? Do you like it?
I love it. I think it absolutely works, man. I think it takes a lot of pressure off of what CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard do, and spaces the floor out for guys like Melo, especially considering. I'm thinking Melo is still on this team somehow. If that happens, like they don't lose Melo, but they also get DeRozan anyway. That's huge. So too. That's huge. And I think if that's what they're trying to go for, that's the version they want, like Melo there in addition to really enforce the super team thing. So I think it really does work on paper, man. I love it. TJ said it like really well. Like DeMar DeRozan doesn't necessarily want to be stuck in San Antonio. He's got traded there. He's like fine with it, but I'm sure he would like another place to go and make a bigger impact, because San Antonio right now seems like they're probably on their last leg, playoff appearances.
See, and I like the moves. I agree with him that I don't see them getting rid of Melo, because I think Melo's a really good presence in practice in the locker room and pushing guys to be better, because he's like, he might get old, but he's still fucking Melo. And he's still a good ball player. He came back this year to prove that he still had something in him. And so I don't think they'll get rid of him. He might just not be on the court as much. But I think with adding those pieces, I just can't see the Trailblazers like really going that far, especially with how stacked the Lakers and the Clippers now in 2 years. That might change and everything's different, but with how the West is looking right now, it's just tough. So
I don't know that I would qualify this as a super team. We do have someone over here in the chat, a mirror, saying Melo is the super team. He has also left comments on our YouTube video saying that TJ has good points and Joe is the smartest and the prettiest.
Appreciate the shout out.
Like this person.
He's one of our 6 subscribers, and I'm one of them, so he is our subscriber.
Nice. Well,
you can subscribe to this? Because I don't.
Wow, how supportive. Let's go with the next, the lineup there, by the way, would be Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, DeMar DeRozan, Paul Millsap, and Nurkic as your starting 5. It's pretty nice. It still puts him in the same place to me, though. I'm with you, Joe. I think that's a good point. Especially,
I don't think it's going to change much.
Nah. Okay, here's the other one.
You have to realize, especially with the West, the Warriors are coming back next year as more traditional of the Warriors that we have seen. Like Steph will be back, Clay will be back. They're another playoff team that's not getting pictured right now. So that's
Draymond, the king of the triple single, will be able to be back too.
Hey, listen, man. He's good at what he does. So that's something to consider as well. But I really feel like that really does improve the Trailblazers' chances. Because Damian Lillard, honestly, is like making his path as like a top 5 point guard for the whole league. He's phenomenal. And I'm getting tired of the disrespect on my man's name. So you give him a little extra help like DeMar DeRozan, man, I think it really does open up the Trailblazers.
Well, and that's one of the things is like I think Dame is one of probably the best guard in the league. Or at least he's real close to the top and deserves a ring. I just don't ever feel like he's going to get one unless he gets traded or moves to a team that will give him the ability to do that. But I just don't see it happening with Portland.
I think that's
contrast everything that you just.
Well, let's move on to the next super team here. We got 3 more to go through. The New Orleans Pelicans makes sense, right? Zion's there, Brandon Ingram's there. You're talking about a team with a lot of youth. You got Alonzo there. This super team is it's pretty disgusting, actually. Zion, Devin Booker, Brandon Ingram. Your starting lineup would be Drew Holiday, Devin Booker, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Derek Favors. That is a fucking nasty lineup.
It wouldn't work.
Let's start with Jonka and Joe first, so we'll let you go last.
Go for it.
I don't see it. I don't think Phoenix is going to let Devin Booker go for anything. They would have to get more than Portland can afford to give up right now. Sorry, not Portland, New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see it as a realistic possibility. Do I think it works? Nah. You got to give Brandon Ingram more opportunities to have the ball in his hands to create his own plays, and Devin Booker is the same way. And you can't have two guys who run offense like that in your starting five. It'd just be a lot of egos potentially, a lot of competition, but then also like there's a lot of missed opportunity. Like somebody has to get going.
Well, also like a lot of young egos, like some guys that are still trying to like prove themselves, especially with Zion, because you've put all your cards on Zion being the number one guy. And then you throw in Devin Booker. And I mean, I don't know. I don't see it happening.
You're not giving, yeah, you're absolutely right, but you're not giving Zion complete ball control like you're going to give Devin Booker and or Brandon Ingram.
Right.
That's kind of my point. Is like, it doesn't really it doesn't start with Zion now. It definitely goes through him more times than not, but it's not going to like be in his hands to start to play.
No,
for
but
guys like Devin Booker, that has to be the case.
With the hype around Zion, he was supposed to be the next LeBron. Like he's supposed to be the next God tier player.
Mm-hmm.
And being the next God tier player to me just says that you have to have the ball in your hands a lot. One, I think they're just going to do whatever it takes to keep Zion happy and keep him there and keep him healthy.
Sure.
So, I mean, unless my theory pans out and he turns into the next Greg Oden, but we'll see.
You said that.
I don't.
I mean, you said that was a possibility at the beginning when we started this podcast. Was Zion could be Greg Oden, and with big men, you kind of have to think that sometimes. TJ, they said it wouldn't work. Also, tell me why it wouldn't work.
I don't think that the play style wise, I think it actually will work. Here's why. I think that what we're seeing out of Devin Booker, you can't really you have to take it with a grain of salt because he's over in Phoenix right now, and he is the only scoring option on that team and has been for a while. They're trying to build around him. They have a young piece, number 1 overall pick, which they wasted in my opinion, but I'm glad they did with DeAndre Ayton. I'm not trying to throw shade towards DeAndre Ayton. I'm just saying with the players that we now see that were in that draft class, they decided to choose him. My issue with it is money. It's all about the money. And here's the thing. You're going to have to re-sign Brandon Ingram if this is going to happen. He's going to get his bag. He's going to get a max probably. And if he doesn't get a max from New Orleans, he's going to get a max somewhere else. You have
anywhere else.
You have Zion still on his rookie contract, and you have D-Book who is making money as he should. The money's not going to add up. Also, if you build that super team, it's going to be who else can you afford at that point? Where's your bench depth? Where is your 4 and your 5? You still have money left over, or actually no money left over, I should say, to even fill out your roster at that point. You're getting guys on veteran minimums. You're hoping that they can buy into the hype and actually go to New Orleans to go to play basketball, because that would be a selling point at that point. That's the reason why the Lakers can do what they're doing right now, is that they have a couple of big contracts on the books, but they can say, hey, we got LeBron, we got AD, come over here. These vets like Rondo, like JaVale McGee, like Dwight Howard, those 3 guys alone are sitting over there like, we'll take less money to get this ring. Why not? You can't do that in New Orleans, in my personal opinion. You can't. It's not a market that you can actually, even if you were to make the trade, you can't get free agents to come over and actually do that. So in my personal opinion, it's from a financial side of things. I think that D-Book could actually work with the actual system itself. I think he'd be fine with taking a step back and not having to score 30 points in a game and get blown out by 20. I think he's a great ball handler. I think his game is absolutely sick. He's a lights out shooter. My issue is the money side of things. I don't think that you can make it work. And if you did somehow make it work, I don't think it would be worth it.
Before we move on, I want to pose this question in addition to that. I don't think, and this is going back to just how I don't think it works, I don't think you risk giving up the chemistry that Zion and Lonzo have together to get Devin Booker in there to score, because Lonzo throws Zion the sickest lobs. Like they have like an immediate chemistry that takes players.
Dude,
like
you're
years to
100%
develop.
right. And to your point, Lonzo plays some absolutely sick perimeter defense, and Devin Booker does not.
Exactly.
His perimeter defense is lacking. He's not a D guy. He's not a defensive guy. He's a scorer.
He's just a scorer.
You don't need to add that to that team right now.
You definitely
have
don't.
Your scoring options, exactly what you guys were saying. You have your scoring options there. Okay. Do I think that Devin Booker would fit the team? Sure. It would be an all-star, like young all-star team. But the issue is that why would you make that trade when you have a guy like Lonzo Ball right now who can do exactly what you need him to do, throw the lobs, get your assists, and play perimeter defense, because they are trying to build a defensive squad with that team right now. They're trying to be kind of like the Memphis Grizzlies of like that nitty-gritty defensive squad that just is going to wear you down, and then by the end of the game hit clutch shots, which they have in Zion and they have in Brandon Ingram. So I don't, like I said, from the money standpoint, and I also completely agree with Jonka and Joe, from the actual point of having Lonzo, and with the way that the team is now, why do it? Why do it?
Yeah, I like those takes from y'all too. I think that's a good point. The scenario here that we get that is Devin Booker forces a trade out of Phoenix, which he's going to force a trade out of Phoenix. Like he is. I mean, if they don't make the playoffs, what is he staying there for? He needs to not waste his prime. But he's
not in his prime yet, in my personal opinion.
Barely getting there.
Yeah, well, a package of would be Lonzo Ball, Jackson Hayes, JJ Redick, and then first round picks, including all those, because they got picks too.
Sure.
They got picks too from the Lakers. We got Everything Pro Wrestling here says, I feel the Pelicans need one more piece, but it needs to be the right piece. They're kind of in line with you. Amir Mirror says it's about the money, but the prima donna take is played out, so he doesn't think there'll be egos. He doesn't think there'll be the heat with the Heatles. And then Amir Mirror also says that TJ has the best takes. Let's move on. Y'all will pick this. Do you want to hear? The Mavs are one of them. Do we want to do the Mavs now, or do you want to make that the last one before we?
The last one, baby. Come on now.
Joe, this one you got to talk
Save
first
the
on
best
this.
For last.
Giannis, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo.
On the Heat?
Where?
Miami.
The Heat.
Miami?
Oh yeah, this is what you were talking about last week, man.
If Giannis goes to Miami and it's Jimmy Buckets and Giannis, the one thing I stand by is that, wow, his name just fucking flew right out of my head. Big man for 76ers. Joel Embiid might also go to Miami. So, like, imagine a team where you had Jimmy Buckets, Giannis, and Joel Embiid.
Can't afford it.
So, like, I know what you just said.
Joel
but
Embiid
I'm
is
inserting
not
my own
going
opinion.
to where Jimmy Butler is. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's also true.
I don't know.
I do
Anyways, I like that move as much as, like, I've kind of, like, it's a different Miami team. It's the Mavs.
Yeah,
I think that would be a home run team.
It would be.
So I think that would definitely take them to the Eastern Conference Finals, if not the playoffs, and maybe a championship.
You would be in the issue here, though, and I'll let Juice talk too, and then we'll get to TJ. I don't actually like this team at all because your starting lineup would be nice, but there would absolutely not be any depth at all. You'd have Kendrick Nunn as your starting guard, fine. Jimmy Butler as your 2 guard. Duncan Robinson as your 3. You have to keep Duncan Robinson. You have to. Giannis, and then Bam. So you do have 3 really, really good pieces. Here's the issue, though. You're going to be in the same kind of situation that LeBron was in with Kevin Love, LeBron, and Kyrie. That's a lot of money between those guys. The cap is going to come down. This team, more than the other two teams we talked about, is going to have a huge cap issue. Giannis is going to demand just an absolute crap load of money. Jimmy Butler's already getting paid, and then you have to save some money for Bam because he's played well. You're just not going to have – you'll have depth to compete in the East, but then what happens? Like, the Raptors are a contender in the East because they have so much depth, so much depth. No real star, but so much depth. This team would make it to the finals and then probably lose in the finals to much better West teams with more depth. Go ahead, Juice.
No, I just agree completely with that, man. I don't to address that potential super team scenario. I don't see it. I think Milwaukee's going to do everything to retain Giannis. Maybe even bring the super team together on their front.
I could see that more likely.
Him going to Miami does not seem very likely. Do I think it works? It's got a lot of potential to be kind of one of the more like trickier teams to defend against, because you kind of have like a few different guys who kind of do way more than one thing, and you have to like plan to that defensively is very, very tricky because no one can stop Giannis. And then you just put him on a team that already has other scoring threats that are very, very hard to stop. It's like, fuck, how do we stop these guys? So I think it kind of actually does work. I
think it creates one of the most raw like starting lineups there is.
Yeah,
in the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. Now the question of depth, yeah, I mean, like they still have to figure that one out, and that's the reason why the Bucks are in a better position to maybe create their own super team, is because like they have a deeper team and their team does better like collectively. I mean, they're like record leading in the NBA. They have the best record, so. Not likely, but it looks good to me, honestly.
Go ahead, Teach.
All right, a couple of things.
Yeah.
One, I think that if that move were to happen, I think that might be the best defensive team in the NBA that we've ever seen. Ever. If that move were to happen. The defensive prowess of that starting five, your only weak link is Duncan Robinson, which his perimeter defense is trash. But he can shoot lights out from three, so you can go with the exactly what you guys points were making was of just offensive prowess. We're not worried about that. You know that everybody can score the ball that's on that team. In terms of the defensive side of things, I think that they would match up. And to your point, Anthony, I think that what they would do is approach it exactly like Cleveland did and say, listen, we got a 2 to 3 year window to win as many championships as possible. If we get one, that's great, but we want to win every single year. It's not the long haul per se, because as we saw with the Cavs, they all broke up and went their separate ways because of the money. But I think the money can work. You still have most of your team on rookie contracts right now, and we're forgetting about one dude who is very raw talent, who I think is going to come into his own with Tyler Hero.
Sample size is too small. I didn't say that because of that reason.
He's going to come off the bench in that lineup, and that is going to be a sick bench. You got the depth already because you have a lot of young talent. If I'm not mistaken, Kendrick Nunn is still on his rookie contract. If he's not, he's on a very generous contract for the team. If that happens, I think it will work, and I think they'll win at least one championship because their defense is going to be too legit to actually get past. With that being said, would I like to see it? Hell no. I don't want to see that because I think it's going to be a situation to where Miami's going to be going back to the finals again, and the Mavs are going to see him again. And we can rebuild that rivalry and everything, because I think that in the same time frame that they would be building up their team, the Mavs would be at that rate as well with their young talent. Jimmy Buckets is on a very, very, very fat contract right now. Bam is on his rookie contract. Giannis is going to get his bag, and he's going to be on an even fatter contract than Jimmy Buckets. So you have that money tied up right there. Longevity-wise, completely agree. I just think that the 2 to 3 year window, they'll win at least 2 out of it if that move actually does happen. So I like the move from an NBA fan perspective. From a Mavericks fan perspective, hell no, don't let it happen. Also, to your point, though, Jonka, you said that you think it might be easier to make a super team from Milwaukee. They don't have any money. They don't have any, and that's the reason why people think that Giannis is going to walk, is because they don't have enough money to sign him. They're going to have to get rid of a lot of money. They have a lot of money tied up with the Lopez brothers. They have a lot of money tied up with Chris Middleton he got the max, dude, at the time.
Yeah.
He's making that bag.
I did see that.
Bledsoe's making 15 mil.
And so what I'm saying is that Milwaukee is going to have to figure something out to even try and retain Giannis. And I've been saying this for a whole minute, that I think that Giannis is leaving Milwaukee. I don't think that it's going to be a situation to where he really wants to, but I think that the money is not going to be there. And I know that Milwaukee's going to try their hardest to keep him, but how are you going to do it? You're going to trade a bunch of players for first round picks? Then sure. But at the same time, how do you convince Giannis that, hey, you can win a championship? You just have to trust us with this raw talent of first round picks that you don't even know about. It's not realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
that's
with
a good point.
Giannis is making 25 million right now. Chris Middleton's making 30 million. Brooke Lopez,
dude.
Brooke Lopez is making 12 mil. George Hill's making 9 mil. Eric Bledsoe's making 15 mil. They do not have any money. You're totally right.
They don't. They're going for broke right now. They're going to try and win a championship this year.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, they have to. Someone asked earlier if we think that Giannis is leaving if they don't win a ring. Yeah, he is. It sucks, though, because this is going to be the second generational type talent they lose, because they also lost Kareem Abdul-Jabbar way back in the day. Bucks don't get them. What was that, 40 years apart, 50 years apart that this happens? Crazy.
Something like that. I'm not exactly sure.
Sorry, there's two more. So we'll talk about the Lakers super teams.
5 total?
Two more potential super teams. Mavs and the Lakers.
So there were 5 total?
5 total. Sorry, yeah, 5 total.
Okay.
So LA Lakers, when you knew this was one, you could probably guess.
They already are a super team.
Well,
that's not a new super team.
Well, they're saying LeBron
This
James.
is just Bleacher Report wanting to throw something.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it out.
LeBron, Paul George, Anthony Davis, CP3. I see CP3. I do not see Paul George.
I don't see Paul George. CP3 maybe, but he seems fine in OKC. But I guarantee you he would totally take the trade if he could get it, or at least.
If he was offered the Lakers spot, he would leave in a heartbeat.
But yeah, like Paul George, he's not doing that.
Paul George and Kawhi are boys, and they're already on the other side of LA.
I'm also concerned that maybe they don't want to do that because LeBron's running point for them so well. Granted, Chris Paul could do it better, so maybe it would be easier for LeBron in his old age to take some of that heat off,
Yeah. I don't think there's anything to really talk about with this team. CP3 might end up with LeBron at some point.
Yeah,
Dude, what's so silly about it is that if CP3 went to the Lakers right now, they'd be a super team. You don't need Paul George, and the idea of getting Paul George on the Lakers is like the most ridiculous idea, because it's exactly what you guys were saying. He convinced Kawhi to come over to LA to play for the Clip. Like, how are they even going to, first of all, make that trade? And then second of all, the money doesn't add up too, because CP3 is getting paid. No, trash.
All right,
the team would win 3 championships. They would three-peat if that actually were to happen. Hands down.
I don't know who.
One of the best teams ever.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have Paul George, CP3, and LeBron as your perimeter defenders, with AD anchoring the back. It literally doesn't matter who plays the 4. It literally does not matter.
No,
it would be ridiculous. I like the Mavs though. Tej, you're really gonna like the Mavs, I think. Luka, Oladipo, Kristaps Porzingis. That would be the starting lineup of Luka, Seth Curry, Victor Oladipo, Kristaps Porzingis, Dwight Powell. That seems extremely likely to me, to be very honest.
I love that.
Yeah, you got Oladipo in there to make up for Luka's lack of ability to play defense. Like, Luka's not a great defender. He's not a bad defender. But we need someone beside. He can't play full force on both sides of the ball. You need someone that can take some pressure off of him so he can focus offensively. You've got Oladipo there who can do some things, but really you need him. I mean, you want Oladipo for defense. Seth, who just had a game that he shot 100%. Kristaps with blocks, and this is a ridiculously good lineup. And apparently, the Pacers and the Mavs are staying at the same hotel, and Oladipo is a free agent next year. Give me the takes,
boys. You guys
boys.
might hate me for this.
Ooh,
I hate that.
Why?
Because here's what would happen if we get Oladipo. which I think there's a very real possibility that it's going to happen, and I don't want it. Oladipo is out of his prime. He's coming off a pretty rough injury. We have not seen exactly what he can do. I want to see him for a full season before I even think about getting him on the Mavericks team. And let's say that he gets back to 90% of what he was in his prime, which is pretty damn good. Don't get me wrong. His perimeter defense is incredible. He can score the ball. I think that the Mavs would find themselves exactly how we were for 10 straight years of making the playoffs and not getting to the finals.
Yeah,
that's not a finals team. That is not an NBA finals team. I realize that we have Luka, and that is a once in a generation talent. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying Oladipo is not the piece that I want on the Mavs to make the super team, because I don't think that makes the super team. I think that just shores up a lot of stuff. If we can sign him for a generous contract, by all means, let's do it. But to make a super team is what I've been saying is getting Rudy Gobert.
Go ahead, Juice, Joe. Oh, they froze up.
I was going to ask him who he thought would make it better. But Rudy Gobert, I think that would make it better.
Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, but you're talking about two different like talent levels. Rudy Gobert, maybe likely, because it seems like he's kind of burned his bridges with Utah, but Oladipo would probably be cheaper, and I think the team is better with Oladipo.
100%, and I agree with you on that end for sure, because you're going to have to trade for Gobert, and you're going to have to probably give up quite a bit for it with draft picks and
probably
such.
Too much. When you think about what makes up the Mavericks team, like losing some of those pieces, like Dorian Finney-Smith, like Maxi Kleber, those are huge pieces for the Mavericks right now.
I just don't think that getting Oladipo makes it a super team. I don't think you can call him a super team if you get Oladipo, because I don't know if Oladipo is a superstar still. He was a superstar for 2 years, and that's it. He didn't fit in OKC. He was maybe, and you can argue this, in which I would agree with. He was in the wrong systems at the wrong time, and he's had to flip teams a lot. And he finally found a home in Indiana, and he's been able to play lights out basketball. And I'm not going to knock Oladipo at all for what he's been able to do, but he's older. I don't want an older guy that's coming off a gruesome injury that was his knee. When you're a perimeter defensive guy and a slasher, I don't want it. I don't think that makes you a super team. I think that gives us the option of him potentially limiting minutes, possibly getting hurt again. And then where we left? We're left at the same exact spot that we are right now, where we're going to make the playoffs. Yes, we're a contender in the playoffs, but we're not a finals team right now.
There is one other player that is available in the off season for the Mavs that fits that same, obviously it's a wing is who they think we need, which we do. We need a wing. Sure. Gordon Hayward is going to be available, and he had a devastating injury as well, but he would be a ton cheaper than Oladipo most likely.
I think they're gonna get about the same amount of money in free agency, to be quite honest with you, man.
It's weird though. You have to be careful about assuming these people are going to make that much money, because the caps are going to take a hit, and some of these players that were going to make bank before the pandemic hit, they're not going to. They're just not going to make what they were going to make before. They are going to have to reduce it. If Oladipo could come over, a smaller contract, not a max deal, then we have the Mavs have enough cap space for a max type deal. Maybe you couple it with a couple of other players. There's a bunch of other guys. Whiteside's also going to be available. Ibaka's available.
I wouldn't mind Ibaka as a veteran presence for
Andre
cheap.
Drummond's going to be available.
Trash. For the contract, not the actual player.
Well, shit, DeMar DeRozan's going to be available too, so.
Exactly. Okay, that's the super team right there. If we get DeMar DeRozan, that's the super team. That's the wing player that you need.
Less her Oladipo.
Yeah, that's
Oladipo's a way better shooter, but
way better shooter. But that's the super team that I'm looking for right there is DeMar DeRozan, not Oladipo right now. And I could be wrong, 100%. But I'm saying right now, today, with what we're seeing from Oladipo and rehabbing and everything, I just haven't seen enough basketball after that injury to warrant it being a super team. Also, Gordon Hayward's going to go over to the Phoenix Suns and his career's going to die. He should have never left Utah.
That's a nice little jab there at the end. All right, we're going to bring back our segments from before we cut off. Let's start with Joe's fast break this week. So we're going to start got a little graphic for Joe's heat check. I'm so sorry. It's whatever. It's Joe's segment.
I didn't even remember what my own segment was called, so who fucking cares?
Well, we haven't done this in a while, so it's okay. It's all right. I've got your tag up while I'm talking, and I'm obviously not Joe. Go ahead, Joe and Jonka.
Do you want to start or should I?
You start.
Well, as far as he goes, it's going to be a pretty obvious one coming from who I am. Mavs are looking good. Luka's numbers in these scrimmages, well, they're scrimmages, and who fucking cares, but he looks good. He's got real good numbers behind him. What is it, like 35 points, 15 assists, 19 rebounds? Do I have those numbers mixed up a little bit?
You're pretty close in 2 games.
Yeah.
And you look at his minutes of play, too. That's the most impressive part.
Yeah, he's played what, 24 minutes?
His minutes played for his numbers
30 minutes?
are looking really good.
He hasn't played a full game.
No.
And barely made it through halftime. Like, Luka's gonna come out of this, and I think he's gonna kill it. And also, him and KP being back on the court looked like there was no break at all. It looked like they'd been playing all of quarantine together.
It's because they're both actually healthy.
Yeah. So I'm going with Mavs, or their heat check from them. I think they're gonna do great in the qualifying rounds.
Go ahead, Juice.
I am going to. I completely agree with everything Joe just said, but I would say also, and I hate to admit this, but the Rockets look pretty good right now and ready for playoffs. Like right now, James Harden is not missing as many shots as he was in the season over the couple of games, or maybe just the one game. But he looks in much better form. And Russ, I don't think he's had minutes yet or has any real weight behind what he's going to do. But I think like they look right now really fucking solid, and I hate that.
I hate that too
because I hate Houston.
Yep.
The Rockets is a good shout. My buddy Conrad over at Everything Pro Wrestling, who's a big hoops head too. Mike Conley and De'Aaron Fox is who he thinks is some players to watch out for a heat check, and I like that actually.
Agreed.
TJ, react to what the J's over there. The J first names heat check.
Nailed it on that one, bud.
Mavs look great. Mavs do look good. The Rockets look good. But you kind of expect that, right? You kind of expect the Mavs and the Rockets to look good.
I don't know, man. Everybody said Luka was fat from playing video games.
Man, that's just people like wanting to cause drama because they were missing the NBA. That's just people wanting to talk about basketball because we weren't able to talk about it for so long. That's just like the same reaction that you got from the Mavs beating the Lakers, and everybody was just like, "Oh my God, LeBron's washed up."
It's like everybody saying Zac Efron has a dad bod now. No, he fucking doesn't.
Yeah, no, he doesn't at all.
Listen,
No, he doesn't.
As a dad, if my bod looked like Zac Efron's, I would be shirtless on this podcast getting the video pulled off YouTube like Sam last week.
Flagged right away.
Yeah. Shit.
And trust us, nobody wants you with your shirt off.
Yeah.
No. Actually, whenever it was all shirt on, like middle school, like above, like only, shirt on. Whenever living, I had. Go ahead.
I like the takes. Even the take from De'Aaron Fox and Mike Conley. I haven't really watched Mike Conley play much in the scrimmages. I know that he's been having a really, really rough season leading up to this, making a lot of money, and was just trying to find his spot. But if he's playing well, I need to look into his stats and watch some of his play. If he's playing well, that's good news for me because I'm a big Mike Conley fan. In terms of the Mavericks and the Rockets, they look great, and they're going to be heating up quite a bit. I think that the worst thing that could have possibly happened to the Mavericks is give James Harden and Russell Westbrook time. They really weren't playing that well together during the regular season, as well as that we knew they could, and then they got time. That's an issue. Even if they don't have to play together and get those reps in together, you got time to sit there and talk about basketball with those two. And as you know, their basketball IQ is ridiculously high.
It is, but that lineup is super fucking tiny.
The lineup is tiny. The thing is that I don't think and we've talked about this a little bit on the podcast and off the podcast. I don't think that this lineup and the system and the way it works will work. But with that being said, I guess only time will tell. I think it's just going to be a classic Rockets playoff where they get knocked out in the second round, or hopefully, make the Western Conference Finals for Rockets fans, but just get knocked out in those. They're not making the finals, in my personal opinion. I would be absolutely shocked if the Rockets made the finals this year. Shocked.
Well, Joe and Juice, you heard it here first on the heat check. Joe says look out for the Mavericks. Jonka says look out for James Harden. Man, listen, I think you're right, dude. James Harden cannot go to strip clubs and get distracted, and there's no crowd for him to get distracted.
He probably won't.
He'll show up. He'll probably show up in the playoffs. Like, this will be the year that somehow the Rockets make it to the finals because James Harden has zero distractions.
It feels different somehow, which I hate. Because I don't like James Harden, but like I feel like he's about to tap into the like deep-rooted playoff performance that we're not hoping is going to happen. But they just look good. That's all I could say.
They do. And Westbrook like defeated both of those dudes defeated COVID too. So like this is the one year I'm like, all right, man, I hope they play pretty well. Like I hope they play really well. They just vanquished COVID.
Completely.
I'm saying heat check from the Grizzlies, by the way.
Heat check for the Grizzlies.
I'm sorry, is it called TJ's heat check? I didn't fucking think so.
No, but we have TJ's timeout.
Yeah, take a timeout, Joe.
Fine, I'm going to the bathroom.
Fine. All right.
Wow, y'all just had a fight.
Since the NBA scrimmages have been coming back, we've been seeing a phenom emerge amongst a sea full of superstars, a sea full of MVPs. The phenom Bol coming from Denver. Everybody is very, very high on this guy. A 7'8" wingspan, 7'2". I want to say right around 250 pounds. The dude is a freak of nature. But I'm going to say timeout. Timeout and let's pump the brakes. Okay? Bol is going to be incredible, and I think that he's going to be a huge acquisition to Denver. But I'm going to say timeout on the Bol hype, and I'm going to say that the hype needs to be going to Jokic. I'm not saying timeout on Denver Nuggets, but I'm saying the hype needs to go to Jokic because the boy just lost a ton of weight and is playing point guard, and that lineup that they took out with Jokic playing point and having all those big men just to say fuck it and let's see what happens. I love it. I think that Jokic is the key to this team. I know that's the easiest take that I possibly could even make right now. But with Jokic and his versatility, that's allowing Bol to shine. I think they're going to make a deep run in the playoffs. But the hype needs to be on Jokic still because that dude is an absolute freak of nature as well. He is the best passing center maybe ever that we've seen. Still career is still pretty young, but his ability to pass and his ability to score is incredible. So let's time out on the Bol hype. I know it's fun, and I know that we're seeing some crazy ridiculous things out of Bol. And I hope that he can stay healthy so we can actually see him win an MVP, because I think if he does stay healthy, he is going to win an MVP. Just with his sheer size alone and his ability to play. But let's time out on Bol and let's give the due to Jokic, the man himself, because he is holding that team down throughout all of this. So I think, and obviously the team hinders on him.
I like the timeout, pump the brakes, leave it on Jokic, who also defeated COVID, by the way, and was international and still got here. So you got to think he's got a chip on his shoulder, and does not want to get outplayed by Bol. Although they had players like out, and he said, "I'll play next to him. I don't give a damn." Boys react to that. Pump the brakes on Bol. Put the hype on Jokic.
Yeah, I almost entirely agree with everything TJ said, but I have one issue with the fact that the hype on Bol implies that there's no hype on Jokic, and that there is hype around the Joker, and there's been hype around the Joker all season long and last season. It's not like he is no longer hyped up because Bol is like, no, I do not see it that way, and therefore I think the hype on Bol Bol should be very real because there's already plenty of hype that's not being overlooked on the Joker. And I think this dude, for his size and his athletic ability, he's blocking people's jump shots. He is reaching and jumping and blocking jump shots, and he's hitting threes. And again, his size, I think the hype is very real. It's very warranted, and it's not taking away from the Joker's hype, who already has it, and he should have it. So I'm not timing out on that. I think it's a good take.
I didn't hear it.
He said tap the brakes on Bol over on the Nuggets because the hype needs to be on Jokic.
I mean, especially with new skinny Jokic.
I'm actually not surprised that you two agree on that, Joe Teej.
Yeah. I mean, and Junker, you make a great point. The hype has been on Jokic. I'm just saying right now,
so.
I don't think that we can take for granted what Jokic is being able to do by having Bol Bol shine, and especially with him seeing him play the point guard position in a starting lineup is ridiculous. So
yeah,
if Bol Bol wasn't there, we'd be hyping Jokic. All I'm saying is that the hype is not obviously died down too much from the Joker. But I'd like to see the man get the respect that he deserves because he does deserve quite a bit of respect. And honestly, if I was Jamal Murray right now, I'd be like, damn, I might not be needed on this team.
Jamal, can someone give Jamal Murray some love? That dude is awesome. I love Jamal Murray. He's one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA.
Oh, he's great. But
God.
You got your center playing the point guard position and doing it well.
That's true. You know what we didn't do on the heat check? We didn't get you guys to tell us who's not hot, who's ice cold. Who do you think's going to have a crappy time in the bubble, guys?
Ooh.
From the sound of Sam yelling, Sam. Anyways.
Also, good job. You know what is a heat check? Fixing that camera quality.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Mm-hmm. You're looking good now, boys.
Joe and Jonka, y'all go first. Who is ice cold in the bubble right now?
In the bubble.
It's on you, bud.
Yeah.
Everything pro wrestling says Lou Williams.
I don't know. He's got the chicken wings. So if they're that good, he might fucking win the whole thing. Honestly, though, I'm probably going to say the Clippers right now. With Pat Bev and Lou Williams being gone, like...
Pat Bev's back.
I don't if they don't come back, like
Pat Bev's
aren't
back.
going to be as good. Is he back?
Yeah,
but I think
Okay.
I keep going with the Clippers thing. I think that's a good take.
I don't know. Part of it is gut feeling, and part of it is just how many people have been leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back. And man, I just don't know if they're going to take it as far as I thought they were going to at the beginning of the season. I still think they have a chance to win it all, but I'm just not as solid on that as I used to be.
Go ahead, Jonka.
So,
I don't know what it is. Philly just looks not as good as I thought they would at this time of year, and that's like accounting for the break in season, right? Obviously, but I just watched them play, and I'm like, I just don't think that this team is meshing as well as they were supposed to. Like, still, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know, man. And Ben Simmons hitting his threes is definitely helping, but
it's a beautiful thing.
He's not like a real threat right now, right? Like, he's not gonna shoot over like 30%, I'm sure. So, I'm gonna say Philly.
Philly's defense looked pretty damn good the other day. It was a scrimmage, and then they still barely beat the Kings, I think is who they were playing.
See, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, the Kings you should almost beat the Kings.
The Kings starters,
how much hype we get at the beginning.
The starters for the Kings played the whole game. Philly rested their starters after the third quarter.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Midway through the third quarter.
I mean, even then,
take that with a grain of salt, guys.
With how much that Philly had gotten, they should have just. I mean, even the bench should have been holding their own against the starters for the Kings.
It's not unfair.
I don't know. I don't. I'm with Jonka. I don't see it.
I'm gonna go with cold Lakers bench, because You do. You got J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters are the guys that are going to be your. Those are going to be your key bench players in all likelihood. Alex Caruso too. Caruso's great. J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters, man, they're looking good right now. But just almost
Goon
a
squad.
timeout, huh?
The Goon Squad.
Yeah, Goon Squad goons for sure. So that would be my cold. I'd be at that timeout and a cold like J.R. Smith.
Lakers bench. You're going with the team's bench. All
I'm
right.
going with the Lakers bench. I would be like the Lakers
I
bench.
could have said that about any fucking. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
There's no rules
Lakers-
here. We're just four dudes talking about basketball during a pandemic. There are no rules here. You can change your cold then, Jonka. Go ahead.
No, I said what I said. I just would have also said Lakers bench if I knew that was on the table. Because
Oh,
nice.
nice.
I agree with you. Like, I'm not convinced Dion Waiters or J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith
I
can't
bet
even
J.R.
pack
Smith
underwear.
is gonna put the clock in one of those games and cost it for LeBron, and LeBron's just gonna be like, "What the fuck, man?" Like, he's gonna give him the pep talk of like, "These are all the things that you can't do coming to play for this team. I'm sticking my neck out for you." And J.R. Smith is all of them. He
I forgot my
his
underwear,
underwear.
homie.
He came with just Hennessy, like he's doing it all.
I should have went with Cole Jr's vacation packing skills. Damn it!
Yeah, you should have.
You got a cold, Teach?
The Miami Heat.
Ooh,
Dude, Miami Heat are not looking good right now, fellas. Even with their starting five and the scrimmages, I think that the Heat took the biggest hit throughout this quarantine. They were surprising already at the 4th spot in the East, and sure, they might turn it around by the time playoffs get around because they'll have some more basketball under their feet. But as we're speaking right now, the Heat are not looking too terribly good. You want to see more from Tyler Hero coming off the bench, who I spoke about earlier. Jimmy Buckets is going to do his thing. Bam's doing okay. Kendrick Nunn needs to do more. I'm going to go with the Heat. I'm going to go with the Heat with what we've seen right now with the scrimmages. Their bench is not the best either. Also, as a maybe 1A, 1B, the Celtics are not looking that great. They're looking okay, but you will definitely want to see them play better basketball. You definitely want to see them play better basketball, especially with their starting five. So
I think the Celtics will pick it up as like qualifiers.
and once and I think the Celtics will, and I think the Heat will as well. It's just right now, as we're speaking about, as we're looking at the games that they played, who's cold in the bubble right now that are top contender teams that have already clinched is the Celtics and the Heat. And that could be for a good reason. They've already clinched, so they don't really have much to play for. But you definitely want to see them play better than they are right now by the time playoffs roll around.
let's hit one last thing in news and we'll get out of here. We didn't talk about it at the beginning. Old Coach Thibs found himself a new coaching gig over there in New York. The New York Knicks have they fired their man and then found their man. The Knicks have had an interesting pandemic because the owner also said some like quasi fucked up shit in response to the Black Lives Matter stuff. I can't remember exactly what it was. I should probably find that before I keep talking. But was it Nolan Dave? What's his name? James Nolan?
James Nolan, the dumbass himself.
Just God, Jesus.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, he's pretty terrible. But the Knicks have their man. They have a new coach. Jonka, Joe, go ahead.
I don't think a new coach is going to really help the Knicks that much. I think they're going to fucking suck no matter what. I think they need new ownership. Just the whole thing needs to be redone. I don't think a new coach is really going to help them. Like, it's who the fuck cares? Like, I'm glad he got a job, sure, or whatever, but I don't think that's going to change anything for the Knicks. I think they're going to be the same Knicks that they have been the same several years.
Yep.
Yeah, I mostly agree. They just need a complete overhaul of a lot of stuff with the franchise. Head coach is not necessarily the problem, as they've gone through a few different good coaches and they haven't figured shit out. Well, it's just your team's not fucking running well as a whole. So I think it starts at a higher level. With that being said, it's a good chance. I think like Tibbs is a really good coach. He just has to not, kill his star players Frank, what's his face, Nicotilla from whatever France. Watch your knees. Take good care of your body because Tibbs is gonna ride you.
RJ Barrett.
They somehow are able to draft LaMelo Ball first next year. He might just throw the workhorse on LaMelo's shoulders and run him into the ground. So
I could actually see that happening. I can see LaMelo Ball going to the Knicks.
Yeah, I can too. It just depends on how the lottery goes. But I mean, I think if you get a guy like that.
If you get a guy like that, he's talking about LaMelo. He's going. Did he come back?
I don't think so.
No, he's still frozen.
Yeah.
Well, he was on a roll.
He was on a good roll.
Your problem.
Guys, listen. Here on the podcast, we want you to know that Joe lives in a third world country.
Yeah. He does not live in the same city as us. I realized that we were doing this in person for a long time, but it just never happened like that. We always had to Skype him in. So,
yes, Joe is still frozen, I think.
No, he's back.
Are we?
Oh.
Nope.
Oh, y'all frozen in the middle of Jonka finishing his point. Like if you get a guy like that about LaMelo.
Oh.
I just was saying that I think if they get Melo with Tibbs coaching, they're probably much better off. But I think Tibbs himself is not the answer. I think it starts with the ownership.
Right. Which is the collective point of my view of the Knicks is like the Bulls, that you have a very, very foundational problem in the ownership. It's not your coaches, it's not your players, because the Knicks had Jeremy Lin during Linsanity and Carmelo Anthony, and they couldn't do anything.
Yep.
Like your problem goes to your ownership, and if your ownership's not right, then your entire organization is going to go to shit too.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. That is very true. Speaking of ownership, this is a good segue here. EPW says Knicks need new ownership, and this is why he cheers for the Timberwolves and the Clippers. Don't brag about cheering for the Timberwolves there, man. That's
hey, Timberwolves look nice. Don't even
cheering for the Clippers either.
No, the Clippers. The Clippers have turned around.
Don't hate
their
on
ownership.
either one of those teams. Timberwolves look great, and Clippers obviously look great, but Timberwolves look great right now. They got a lot of young talent all around that. Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell are going to be sick.
I forgot about D'Angelo Russell.
Towns is sick.
But yeah. here's what I want to say about the hiring of Tibbs.
I wasn't cheering for the Knicks because of.
I think that this hire is exactly like when the Cowboys hired Jason Garrett.
Oh.
I think that you still have the issue of the ownership. I think that he's going to be a good coach, and I think he's going to take the Knicks to the playoffs, but it's not going to be the answer, and it's not his fault. And I think that Tibbs was the only guy that could be the yes man to James Nolan, that is just willing to deal with his stupid bullshit enough to be like, okay, you're going to pay me a lot of money to be a coach again. I'll take the opportunity. I think there's a lot of similarities between that hiring and the Jason Garrett era of the Cowboys for sure. Because ultimately we all agree the ownership is the issue with the Knicks, and until the ownership can change, the Knicks are not going to be good because nobody wants to go play for that man. Nobody wants to go play for the guy that owns the damn team. It doesn't matter who you bring in.
That's fair. So that's actually a point that came up on Clutch Points, is their website that I just pulled this up. The issue was that the Knicks were the 30th out of 30 teams to release a statement about Black Lives Matter. Every one of us has a role to play in creating a more just and equal society where there is no racism, bigotry, violence, or hate. We stand with all who act for positive change. The message isn't the issue. It's just that they took forever, and they think it is a reflection on why they couldn't get guys like Kevin Durant. They famously struck out on LeBron, who apparently was going to go there before the Heat, but something changed. I read that story earlier this year, summer. It is I mean, it reflects, right? Like, that makes sense. Makes sense. I don't think the Thibs. I'm with y'all though. I don't think the Thibs hiring is going to do anything. I mean, they're still not going to be good. They're still going to be bad.
Make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs with him as their head coach if they don't fire him. If they actually keep him for the length of his contract. Dude, they're in the East. They're going to make the playoffs. Y'all need to calm down.
Yeah,
this is not the West. This is not the West.
gonna like no longer finish at the bottom of the East. They're not gonna
Bro,
make playoffs.
or the Orlando
Dude,
Magic are the 8
they're
seed
still
with
gonna
30
suck.
wins. Like they're gonna make the
Right.
playoffs.
They're just gonna go like get like 35 wins now. That's what the Knicks are doing.
35
will
wins will
make the
get you in the
playoffs
playoffs
in
in
the
the East.
Their record.
All right, guys.
It will get you the playoffs.
Before we wrap up, I have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
I have found a picture of these wings. Are you ready?
Yes.
Those wings are worth it. Those wings look amazing.
All right. Lou, I don't blame you, my good friend. I would have done the same.
Do we know what kind each wing is? Do we have that breakdown?
I don't know, wing expert. You tell us.
Let's guess. It looks like some
Can't
lemon.
tell fucking looking at it.
It looks like some lemon pepper.
Okay.
It looks like
Pass. No
some kind of hot.
Scrubs, give me a sauce.
It looks like they got
Fuck
some
yeah.
Raising Cane sauce. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. These
I
those.
don't know.
Here's what sells it. It's the
I'm
crinkle
not
cut.
schooled.
It's the crinkle cut fries.
Crinkle cut can go fucking die in hell.
Oh,
Fuck
you
crinkle cut
stop
fries.
it right now. You did not go to poor
Fuck
schools.
crinkle cut fries. First of all.
Listen.
Second of all, they look good, but they look very fried. Which
Yeah.
is fine.
Have you seen what they're
but-
eating at Disney World? I'm sure he was excited to eat that fried food.
Bro,
have
at least they're bone in.
True. Boneless wings are just chicken nuggets that are embarrassed to be chicken nuggets.
So,
And
what's the fucking problem?
I think it's just the name. I think it's the name of calling it a wing when it's just like a
Yeah.
Nuggy. It's a chicken nuggy.
All right, guys.
Give me a
Before
bunch
we
of nugs then.
let's
I
let's
am
do
not opposed to some boneless nugs.
let's do some final
What?
words here before we get out of here. Let's start with TJ. Anything final you want to say? We got the games starting on Thursday. We've got the Battle of LA Thursday night. Should be fun. We're 3 days away, so season is starting. Pretty excited about it. It's going to be a good time. Nice to have basketball. Tej has been watching a ton of it. Tej, final words before we get out of here.
I'm excited for the season to start back, but I'm waiting for the playoffs because there's still a lot of people that are not going to be back for the first game of the regular season starting back up due to the quarantine rules. I'm going to be interested to see how that plays a role in with everything that's going to be happening during the regular season and seeing if anyone from their team is going to lose a player due to the 10-day quarantine, 4-day quarantine, however long it may be, if somebody does have to leave the bubble. I'm excited that basketball is back. I've been watching, trying to watch almost every single scrimmage. I'm going to be watching every single regular season game. Excited about it, but I'm still kind of waiting for the playoffs to start so we can see everyone on the team play actual basketball as opposed to just, hey, the Clippers are here, Pat Bev's missing, Montrezl Harrell's missing, all these guys. So you can't really say that a team is doing well or doing not when they don't have key players. But still excited.
Good point. Joe, Jonka?
I'm just interested to see where this goes because with people leaving, coming back, injuries, everything within this bubble is just turned whatever I thought about the season on its fucking head. So, honest to God, I'm just interested to see what happens. I have no clue at this point. I've got plenty of gut feelings, but I've got no solid lead on who I think is going to win. I think the Heat will come back,
even
and I think
before the
Celtics will
pandemic,
come
Joe,
back
you
and
were
do
like
pretty
that.
well. It's fair. I have no, like so many things have just been so fucking weird. I just don't get it. I don't understand anything anymore.
Jonka, thanks
just
for
wanna watch some really fucking
thanks for
weird
being our
basketball.
second guest ever on the podcast. Do you have any final thoughts you want to say to the Hoop There It Is crowd?
Yeah, I sure do. Getting back to things that actually matter, Dallas Mavericks basketball specifically. I think the Mavericks are going to, for those who don't know, their magic number to guarantee a playoff spot is 2. They need to win 2 games prior to the tournament actually starting. I think they're going 6-2 to move out of 7th. That is what I think, and that is my final parting message. I think they're going to go 6-2 to move out of 7th spot.
I think you're right.
I
We
like
looked at their
that.
schedule last week. They have a pretty favorable schedule in the last 8 games.
really fucking good for them. So I'm real confident that they're probably not gonna get a Clippers matchup first round, but still pretty likely. But who knows? Because the Clippers might move down.
I think the Clippers are moving down. I think they're moving down. I think that's good. Jonka, thanks for joining us, my friend. Where can you? I've been showing their their Twitter accounts. Do you want anyone to follow you on social media or no?
If you want to, you can hit me up at what is my handle? I think it's just at Jonathan L. Lopez.
I think so.
Yeah,
that's it. Jonathan, that's JONATHON L. Lopez.
My final thoughts before we get on out of here. I'm excited that basketball is back. Whatever version of basketball we get, the majority of the players are here. Shout out to the Mavericks, who, by the way, were the first team to make sure that they had everybody pass, meaning test negative. So just saying, the Mavericks have been serious about this bubble shit from the beginning. And we got Mark Cuban, who's been just, being a badass on Twitter and just being a dope-ass human being. So, Mavs fans for life. That's what we are here. Pretty excited about seeing where the Mavericks go. I think they have a good shot to surprise some people. Should be a good time. You guys can follow me on social media if you would like. My my name is at S2D We had TJ's, who is at CheesyWiz. And then we also have Joe, who's at Mr. Joe_Brower. So make sure you guys follow us. Tej and I tweet a lot more than Joe doesn't. Joe's an Instagram guy, really. I don't know.
I don't have interesting shit to say on Twitter. So
and Twitter, I don't even tweet that
follow
much.
If you want, and I'll reply to things, but I don't tweet that much. Should I try tweeting?
And you should try whatever you would like.
I think Jock is right. I don't think I have what it takes.
Twitter is
I think I just throw things out to the void, and it's just gonna be.
Yeah, no one wants to see that.
It's gonna be the same thing I do every night, just screaming into the void.
Do that on your own time.
There you go.
I don't need to subject everybody else to that.
Basketball being back is exciting. I think we can all share this sentiment. I'm real fucking tired of politics and COVID, so I'm just really happy to have distractions back. I know that's not necessarily like the most adult thing in the world to say, but goddamn it, distractions exist for a reason. Do what?
But it is
As per basic psychology, distractions are actually very healthy things as long as they are not used in excess to make yourself forget about reality. So it's all right.
Huh. That makes me feel a lot better about that. Yeah, I'm excited and like baseball hasn't been doing it for me, so they're not. Even
Shocker, baseball fucking sucks.
Boo,
Shocker,
baseball.
I hardly know her.
Sam, baseball sucks. I hope you know.
Make sure you guys subscribe to us here at Hoop There Pod on YouTube. If you're watching the video on YouTube, that's awesome. Hit subscribe. We need to get to 50 subscribers so I can have a custom URL. That way we can actually say youtube.com/HoopTherePod. So help us out.
Please.
Like, share, use the hashtag that you've seen at the top of the screen there, #HoopTherePod when you talk about the show. I'm Anthony. That was TJ, Joe, Jonka. This has been Hoop There It Is. We will see you guys next time. Adios.